Gotabaya Rajapaksa fled the country before quitting as the Sri Lankan president. The man at the centre of the storm has left for the Maldives along with his wife, 2 bodyguards. The news has been confirmed by the Lankan Prime Minister's office. During the wee hours on Wednesday, the presidential party comprising 4 passengers left for Malé on Antonov 32 military aircraft, which took off from the main international airport of the country. Gotabaya left the country in an alleged bid to avoid detention after stepping down. The Speaker's office has reportedly confirmed that Gotabaya Rajapaksa did not appoint an acting president before his departure. The departure of the president, who enjoys immunity from arrest, was reportedly stymied for over 24 hours owing to a humiliating standoff with immigration personnel at the airport, who withdrew from VIP services, insisted that the passengers go through public counters. Reports suggest that the presidential party that intended to land in Dubai, initially they were reluctant to go through regular channels, fearing public reaction, of course. This comes on a day when the Lankan president had promised to tender his resignation, after angry protesters overran his palace on Saturday with calls for his ouster. If the president steps down as promised, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe automatically becomes the acting president until Parliament elects an MP to serve out the presidential term that ends in November 2024. However, Wickremesinghe has himself announced his willingness to step down after peaceful transition of the government. But Sri Lanka's political rumbles do not end here. The Sri Lankan parties, they are yet to form consensus over the interim government. The succession process of the incumbent establishment could take at least 3 days, which is the minimum time to convene parliament, with 30 being the maximum number of days allowed under the statute. The parliamentary speaker has said that if Rajapaksa does step down today, then the vote would take place on the 20th of July. Sri Lanka is witnessing unprecedented crisis. The country has exhausted its foreign exchange reserves and is unable to finance even the most essential imports. The crisis has forced citizens to stand in long queues for basics. Now, for more on this, joining us live is our correspondent Dasuni Athoda from Colombo. Dasuni, what's the latest on ground right now?
Well, yes, Hem. Now, of course, it has been confirmed as early as 7 to 8 a.m. here, Sri Lankan time, that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has in fact fled the country. However, what the entire nation is waiting for right now is the official letter of resignation, which we are yet to see here, because that is when President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who is currently fled, will effectively have been resigned from his post as president here in Sri Lanka. Now, the Speaker's office was seen saying that the Speaker himself is yet to receive this letter of resignation, because this letter has to be given to the Speaker for the resignation to come into effect. So there remains pretty much a lot of doubt as to by what time and at what point will this letter of resignation, the all-important letter of resignation, will be given to the Speaker, because more specifically we do know that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa on a previous occasion did confirm that today, the 13th of July, will be the day where he hands over his letter of resignation.
Right, Dasuni, interesting that you say that, because in fact I was going to ask if there is any hope of still receiving a letter of resignation from the president, because this has, as you know, completely stalled the political process, and it's only going to add to the woes of the Sri Lankan people. So what can we expect in this week to come?
Well, in this week to come, like I said, the next 10 days, provided that this letter, like I said, this letter is very important for the future progress of Sri Lanka's politics right now. Provided this letter arrives at some point during the day, a week from now, Sri Lanka is slated to have a new president. This new president will come through a vote that is set to take place in Parliament, which will happen by way of a secret ballot. But until then, Sri Lanka's legal provisions do allow for the Prime Minister to step up and take on the role as acting president.
All right, Dasuni, thank you so much for bringing us all the latest on this. We will, of course, continue to monitor this situation very closely with you on ground in Colombo. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.